Hey Renegades, Jeremy Burgess, founder of Renegade Detroit Investors, and this is week 7 of the idea. I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I'm filthy, I'm covered in sawdust and everything else, and I'm taking a little bit of Kelly's advice. The last thing I want to do right now, when all I want to do is go to sleep, is shoot a video, but I'm just going to suck it up and do it. So thank you, Kelly. Alright, so now we're getting into the meat and potatoes. It's time to pick an area you want to start doing some real estate deals in. You may already have an area in mind, and if you do, I would like you to do this anyway, because this is a great tool. Not only will you have some real information about the area you're going to be investing in, but it allows you to start doing it from the comfort of your home and your computer. I started investing in Detroit from Pullman, Washington. This is in 2005. And obviously Detroit was not close to me. And it's a big city, and I needed to know where I wanted to invest. So I came up with some criteria that I thought was important. First of all, I wanted home ownership rates to be high. You know, if there's more homeowners in a neighborhood than there are renters, homeowners do tend to take care of their houses better, and they tend to be better areas. I know I was also looking for families. You know, families tend to be more stable than single people or unmarried couples. So I know I wanted that. Some kids thrown in the mix, that's very stable too. And I wanted, for the rents that I wanted to get, I wanted to make sure they could afford it. So in my particular area, they need to make more than $35,000 a year. A great place to find out all this information is the Census. If you Google Census, I believe it's census.gov. On the left-hand side, there's some pretty amazing search features. And the smallest you can go, unfortunately, is by zip code. So this works really well if you're looking at investing in a bigger city like Metro Detroit. This is going to work really well in most of Metro Detroit. But if you're from a smaller town, it's going to give you some information, but if your whole town is one zip code, it's probably not going to be that useful. But for bigger cities, this is great. It gives you all that information by zip code, and when you go and you do the search and you search by zip code, then you can do other searches right in the same search. You can select home ownership, median income, and all this stuff that they collect off the census. Now, I'm not here to say whether or not that should be legal or not, and privacy issues and all that stuff. What I am saying, though, is it's a great resource for figuring out a lot of information that you can't see with your eyes. You can't drive a neighborhood and see how much people are making, or see how many people are married, or see what the home ownership is for that area versus the renters and all that. You can't see that. And I would, recommend checking out a couple of different areas. Yeah, I mean, you probably have a few in mind already, but check out a few. Just kind of, play around with this tool when you're picking out areas. And what I did was I said, okay, I kept an open mind. Detroit has a ton of zip codes, as you can see. And I know Metro Detroit's the same way. This is just Detroit. A ton of zip codes. So I did the search for all the zip codes, and I narrowed in on, as a starting base, on all the zip codes where I achieved what I was looking for. And it turns out that there were 3 primary areas where home ownership was 70% or higher, and the median income was $35,000 or higher, and family and post-secondary education and a bunch of other stuff. With Detroit, you can take a shortcut. If you're interested in investing in Detroit, you can take a shortcut. If you go to the City of Detroit website, Google it. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's City of Detroit, no, it's DetroitMI.com. Anyway, Google it and go to Planning and Development. They have a master plan, and in that master plan, not only do they break down the census data by zip code, but they further break it down by neighborhood, because in every one of these zip codes right here, if you see where the zip codes are in this map, and then you see the color that the District 9, for instance, that's someplace I do a lot of business in. That's a couple different zip codes there. But within that 9 is 5 individual neighborhoods, and they further broke down that census data right there on the City of Detroit website. And then they offered even cooler tools. Show me vacant housing stock that wasn't in good condition, that the city, they collected this data as part of their city planning. So check, after you've done the census, stuff, check whatever, if you're interested in Birmingham or wherever you're investing, check the city website and see if they have some of those tools. Go to the planning and development, make a phone call, ask what's available. If the city doesn't have it, try the county, especially if you're rural, like if you're way far out and there's not a lot of people, small towns, maybe 5, 6, 10,000 people. The city's probably not big enough to compile that information, but a lot of times when you get that rural, the county will. The county will take that on. So then also check your county. And any area you're interested in, that's what you need to do. Narrow it down. Make sure what you're looking for, and looking for those high home ownership rates, and whatever income income is going to be driven by the cost of real estate. My rent is between $800 and $900 a month, so I know they need to make $35,000 or more a year to afford to pay me. So whatever your going rent is, if you're going to go cash flow, or if you're going to flip, look at mortgage payments. Right, and you use that affordability index. I use 28% of net income, but the average is like 33% of gross income, I believe, is what most people are underwriting to. Factor that in and figure out what they need to make and focus in on those areas before you drive. Now, once you've done all that, drive it. It is important to drive it and get a good idea and look at things with your eyes, but most people rely too heavily upon their eyes. There's a ton of information out there right from your home computer or your cell phone, and it's going to give you a lot more information and a lot more valuable information that you can trust more than just your eyes. And this is particularly important in Detroit. Not as much in the suburbs. There are neighborhoods in Detroit that look like $1 million, and then you check the census data, and it's 30% homeowners and 70% renters, and you see that the housing stock has not been well taken care of, and you don't even need to drive that neighborhood. You could have saved yourself a lot of work, or maybe you didn't check that out, and then you drove it. You thought it looked good. You made an investment. It didn't turn out right. So, census numbers, while not 100% accurate, they don't lie, and that's a much better indication of neighborhood than just driving it and looking at it with your eyes. Anyway, so that's what you need to do. Week 7, go out there, do that, look at some neighborhoods, get on the census, check the city website. If you're rural, check your county website, and compile some useful demographic information about the area you want to invest in. Then narrow in on an area and go and drive it and get really comfortable with it. This is Jeremy Burgess, a Detroit market expert, founder of Renegade Detroit Investors. I'm exhausted. Hopefully I got enough energy into this, because this is very important, where I think you should start. And I appreciate your attention, and I'll catch you next week, guys. Thanks.